It was a story few could have predicted. A pastor with immense influence, preaching to tens of thousands every week in a converted sports arena, standing atop a fortune exceeding $100 million, now facing scandals that could shake the foundation of his empire. What started as a vision for a thriving congregation transformed into a sprawling global institution with book sales, broadcast deals, and digital content multiplying his reach. Yet, the very mechanisms that built this ministry, loyalty, branding, and spectacle, are now exposed to scrutiny. The questions are no longer just about faith, but power, accountability, and trust. Lakewood Church, a cathedral of spectacle. Lakewood Church defies conventional expectations. What was once the home of a professional basketball team now holds 16,000 seats, surrounding a stage alive with lights and LED screens. Every weekend, 50,000 people attend 4 services, a number surpassing the annual attendance of some entire denominations. Ushers guide families, cameras track every moment, and the energy is palpable, yet its influence extends far beyond Houston. Broadcasts reach over 100 countries, translated into multiple languages. Streaming services, social media, and book sales amplify its message, creating a ministry that operates on the scale of a sports franchise and media company combined. Preaching prosperity. At the heart of this empire is a carefully honed message. Faith can bring abundance. Sermons rarely dwell on sin or judgment. Instead, they promise wealth, health, and happiness for those who believe. This theology, known as the prosperity gospel, became the engine behind the church's growth. Books, totaling more than 20 million copies sold worldwide, serve as blueprints for personal success. Speaking tours, merchandise, and licensing deals generate staggering revenue. While the pastor claims no salary from the church, royalties make him one of the wealthiest preachers globally. For followers, the message inspires hope. For critics, it raises questions about motives. The flood that exposed. A gap. Houston's devastating flood in August 2017 tested Lakewood's public image. While neighborhoods were submerged, the church initially reported its building was inaccessible. Yet photos showed dry grounds and closed doors, igniting outrage. Social media amplified the perception that generosity had limits. Official statements insisted the church was ready to help, but action lagged. For many, the incident was the first glimpse behind the carefully curated image of endless generosity. It revealed a tension between public perception and internal priorities, raising broader questions about whether the church's vast resources truly serve its community. Hidden cash and financial questions. In March 2021, a plumber repairing a toilet made a startling discovery: bags of cash and checks hidden in a wall, nearly $600,000, matching a 2014 burglary that had remained unsolved. The church handed the money to authorities, but provided no explanation. Forensic accountants questioned how funds could vanish and reappear undetected in a heavily monitored building. Independent audits were absent, and the public received no clarity. This incident, along with prior legal settlements and marketing disputes, painted a picture of lax financial oversight. Transparency, critics argue, has been sidelined in favor of control, raising fundamental concerns about governance in a $150 million empire. A security breach with deadly consequences. Tragedy struck on February 11, 2024, when a former member entered the church with a firearm and her young child. Gunfire erupted, leaving 2 wounded, including the child, before off-duty officers neutralized the threat. Investigations revealed glaring lapses in security. Bag checks were inconsistent, volunteer screening was insufficient, and reliance on off-duty officers left vulnerabilities. Families experienced trauma firsthand, confronting the reality that operating a ministry at such scale is not just a matter of optics or finance. Lives are at stake. The incident became a sobering reminder that influence carries responsibility beyond the pulpit. Governance and family control. Lakewood's operations revolve tightly around the Osteen family. Joel and Victoria serve as co-pastors, while their children hold prominent roles. All major decisions, financial, operational, and charitable, remain within this inner circle. Outsiders, including donors and longtime members, have minimal access to the true state of affairs. Annual celebration videos and vague assurances replace concrete transparency. For critics, this concentration of power underscores a fundamental vulnerability. An empire built around a single family may thrive while loyalty lasts, but without external accountability, oversight is limited and risk grows exponentially. The fragility of charismatic leadership. When a ministry's brand is inseparable from its founder, the departure or scandal of that figure can destabilize everything. Experts on nonprofit sustainability warn that megachurches may see revenue drop as much as 70% after a charismatic leader steps aside. Even family succession plans rarely replicate the same level of trust or influence. Every donation, every partnership, every viewer is tied to the persona at the pulpit. If confidence erodes, the ripple effects can be swift and dramatic, with staff, suppliers, and satellite ministries feeling the impact immediately. The system's fragility stems from centralized authority rather than institutional stability. The cost of secrecy. Lakewood's financial secrecy mirrors the opacity of many megachurches. Despite annual budgets exceeding $90 million, no independent audits are released. Critics argue that withholding transparency undermines moral authority. The church's reliance on donor trust without formal accountability creates a precarious balance. Followers give generously because of faith in leadership, not verified stewardship. The tension between loyalty and scrutiny highlights a broader challenge for religious institutions operating on corporate-like scales. When the private controls overshadow public trust, even minor missteps can magnify into crises with widespread consequences. The question of accountability. The story of Lakewood Church raises enduring questions about faith, leadership, and responsibility. Can institutions that operate like corporations maintain the moral credibility expected of spiritual leaders? Are congregants empowered to demand transparency, or is trust in a single figure sufficient? As controversies stack, financial irregularities, public relations missteps, security failures, the spotlight grows brighter. The church's reach, both physical and digital, makes every action visible and accountable to millions. Ultimately, the test may be whether followers insist on integrity as fervently as they embrace inspiration. A moment for reflection. Megachurches like Lakewood thrive on scale, spectacle, and charisma. They operate with remarkable influence, yet also face unprecedented scrutiny. The story of this ministry is not just about one man or one family. It reflects tensions inherent in combining faith, media, and finance. When institutions grow larger than any individual, the stakes, financial, ethical, and human, multiply. For congregants and observers alike, the challenge is to look beyond the stage, beyond the lights, and ask difficult questions. True accountability begins when faith is matched by transparency, and trust is earned, not assumed.